correct.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
go ahead and
it's-
call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for agreeing to meet today so that we can get these items reviewed. This is the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee meeting of Tuesday, January 28th, 2025, called to order at 8:32. And I'll go ahead and do roll call. Terry Majewski is here. Jen Mulder, not here. Savannah McDonald,
Here.
Joel Ireland, not here. Ricky Riojas,
Here.
and Andrew Christopher.
Here.
Great, thank you. It's we have 4 present, which is a quorum. Okay, item 2 is the review and approval of the legal action report from January 23rd, just a few days ago. When I reviewed it, I noticed, hold on just one second. I noticed under the note at the very top, because remember the recording, there was issues with internet connectivity at Michael's office. So it's not entirely recorded. So in the note, he's got, due to internet outrage at PDSC during the meeting time, the entire meeting was not recorded. So it was internet outrage, but it should be outage. O-U-T-A-G-E. And
okay,
so
sorry.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
I like it. I like the original version.
So I thought that the motion should be, I invite a motion to approve that as corrected, if that's all right.
Yeah, and I will correct that.
Okay, so could I have a motion to approve as corrected?
I move to approve the legal action report for the meeting of January 23rd, 2025, as corrected.
Thank you. And who will second?
This is Ricky. I'll second.
Perfect. Thank you. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, if not, I wanted to also thank Plans Review members for reviewing that so quickly when I sent you the my edited draft. So, okay, I'll go ahead and call roll. Terry votes aye. Andrew?
Aye.
Savannah?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Great, thank you. It passes 4-0. So Michael, you'll make that correction and then you're good to go. Okay, item 3 is historic preservation zone review cases. We review these under UDC section 5.8/TSM 9-02.0.0/historic district design guidelines / revised Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines. Case 3A is a continued case from the last meeting. The number is SD0125000006 at 1136 North Stone Avenue. And this is to rehabilitate a 49-unit motel. It's a former Econo Lodge Travel Lodge, converting the units into kitchenettes, upgrading the electrical and mechanical. It's to the Stone Avenue Youth Transitional Housing Project, and it's the City of Tucson Capital Improvement Project. This is a full review in the Miracle Mile Historic District. It's a contributing resource, and we use the rehabilitation standards. Now, we don't need a whole, well, we need to pick up where we left off because all of you were on the meeting on the 23rd, correct?
Yes, Madam Chair. It's just a continuation. So Mike does not need to go back. He should just pick up the discussion from where we ended.
Correct. Okay. So, and Mike Colbert, correct, is presenting.
Yes,
Are you presenting, Mike?
And
Yep,
Mike, what is your affiliation again? Remind me.
I'm the project architect. Yes, Swaim Associates is the architecture firm hired by the City of Tucson.
And your company is?
Swaim Associates.
Oh, you're Swaim. Okay, perfect.
That's Swaim, yeah.
All right. Sorry, just a lot going on this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
You're
And do
the
you need
co-host
him
now.
to share the screen?
Yeah, you
I
can
do.
share the screen. I made him the co-host.
Okay. And thank you all for finding time to put this meeting together.
Sure.
Last week, I apologized in advance for the cold. Now I apologize in advance because of the basketball game last night. I yelled an awful lot, so.
Oh my
That's
God.
okay. Sometimes it happens.
Exactly. Priorities. Michael, I still can't share. I don't know if you
Oh,
give me
you
co-host.
can?
Oh,
Oh.
you might have done it to my phone and not to the one that says Weymouth.
Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I did the other one. Let me do this. Stream associate. Let me take you off from this one. You want the one with stream associates, right? Okay.
Correct.
All right.
There
Does
it
it
goes.
work?
Yes, I do have it. Let me find the right
Okay.
screen. I want to share my old screen here, not a document. It does not give me an option. All right. As you mentioned, let's start off with where we were. And I'm going to have to try to. Hang on just a quick second. Nope, not going to let me do that. Okay. So
I changed on the agenda. You will see that last time you had mentioned that there are actually 49 units instead of 51. The record I had was showing 51, but I changed it this time to 49.
Thank you. Do appreciate that. Subtle difference, but it is a difference in the ADA. So glad we have that documented. So where we had left off is I had let you all know that we had determined that the stairwells were an issue and causing a problem. So this entire structure was all cantilevered out, the walkways, the stairwells, and everything. It's all wood frame construction. We had concrete topping poured on top, and that includes the stairwells themselves. So we've done a structural analysis, and what was not shown on this original image we sent to you was the fact that we needed to add additional columns underneath each one of these stair landings, both on the second floor and third floor. And we've come up with a couple of different options that we're looking at. One that is it's kind of a change of what you see here. The other thing we were trying to accomplish with these columns we were proposing to add is the long rail runs here. We found them to be very loose when we pushed on them when we were on site. So we were trying to break up this railing. We're going to keep the existing railing. We're going to cut in just where we need to add a column and just provide additional support between the different runs. So the columns below were only a visual item. We had drawn in the columns above, didn't like the way that looks, felt it would be more important to bring something down here. So with that in mind now knowing that we have to add a bunch of the stairs, let me show you a couple of photos that we're talking about here. And you guys, I don't believe you cannot see that. Okay, let me show you that. So these columns that you see here were all added at some point. We believe they were added because of the failures that they were beginning to see on the slab up above. Some of these aren't even on a footing or on a foundation. In fact, one of these, and I don't think it's in my photo list here, but is just on a steel plate sitting on the ground. So we've determined we really need to support, in fact, we have to support the stairwell and these landings better than what is done here, so that it isn't a safety issue in the long term. With that in mind, we originally, let me go back into my other screen where I wish I didn't have to flip back and forth, but with that in mind, we took a look at adding all of those framed columns. So you'll see here, this is the structure to support the stairwell. Here's another tall, long one. And then the structural support for the guardrails up above. This is, we just felt was getting very busy. Here's a 3D image of the same information. You know, with those columns and all of these different items here, we are seeing, yeah, okay, good. It's really taking away, and in our opinion, it was taking away from the structure and from the original look of the hotel. So we've worked with a structural engineer, and what we've come up with is maybe changing from those wooden frame stuccos, leaving all the existing ones along the building, but replacing the ones that we're adding to just a steel column. So we would do a steel column from floor to the roof above. That would give us our support at the rail. We would do a steel column with a beam across, and this would be in an L pattern. So in other words, here's the same 3D image. We do it here, and then there's a beam underneath the stairwell and another column supporting the stairs. So each one of these would have this simple L-shaped configuration to support the stairwell, the landing, and then the guardrails would be supported with these smaller rails that really we feel are less obtrusive to the structure than this configuration and what we were looking at here. So that's the biggest change we're making to what was presented to you originally. A few other things, these stairwells do not have handrails at all. What is actually there is the original railing that was too low. Then they've added some additional steel on top of it to get it to current code height, but there is no handrail. So we need to add a handrail inside of each of these. Again, leaving the existing guardrails that were there and what was originally with the building, just simply adding a handrail to each of the stairwells in all those locations. As
Mike, before
yes,
you go on, could I ask you a question? Because you may change, go to a different thing.
Yep.
So in what you're proposing to do with just the steel posts, would you be getting rid of the stuff on the second floor with those columns, or just adding to it? Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. Let me go back to this photo. So what we would get rid of is these columns here that are presently supporting the stairwell. We would get rid of those, but anything else you see here, those would all remain. We would not disrupt any of that to change the existing look of the building.
And you're just saying that if you added replica columns beneath, that would just be, additional ones that would be too busy, or was it just the longer ones that you'd be replacing with the thinner poles?
It would be these lower railings or these lower landings as well. So we'd need to replace them here and up here. Yeah.
Sorry, maybe others understood that, but I just needed to hear it. Okay, go ahead.
Please, yeah, and please interrupt me with any questions you have. I'm going to make sure that everything is clear here. So yeah, but anything else that you see is existing, and we would keep those. And in particular, because of the, let me change pictures, interesting. Because of the existing columns elsewhere in the building, those would all remain. So for instance, there's existing columns here, there's existing columns across the front facade. All of those would remain as is. This stairwell already has a beam supporting it. They're not having those issues here, and they're not having those issues on the other side, which is the north building here. So all of those columns would remain exactly as you see them. The only thing we'd be adding is then a steel post to support our guardrails in these locations.
Okay. Commissioners, do any of the rest of you have questions on that part?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right. A couple other, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Couple other just key components here. The existing HVAC units that are through wall units we're replacing with US made. As I mentioned before, this project needs to meet the Build America, Buy America Act. And so we need, and all the American made units are of course larger than what we have. Wherever possible, we will enlarge the existing opening in the same location. So that's what we're proposing to do in these locations. And in the oddball locations, such as these, where there's a structural concern, we are moving the unit underneath the window. All of these exterior walls are bearing walls, both inside and outside. And we're not sure yet how this is structured, and we can't, so if we put an opening underneath the window, we know we're not impacting the structural design itself. And then these existing holes would all be patched to match the existing stucco that's there, and painted, of course, to match.
Okay.
Okay. One of the city requirements is wrought iron fencing for security purposes. This is kind of drawn wrong, but anyway, let me go back to my site plan. So we're proposing to do 2 rolling gates. One, the plan is entrance would come off of Helen Street and people would exit onto Stone. We would do 8-foot tall wrought iron. As I mentioned before, the existing pool would go away, but the walls around the existing walls around the pool would remain. And we're proposing to put wrought iron fence on top of those walls, that same 8-foot height. And then along the alley here, we're proposing to put fencing to enclose an area for the occupants. This is a location, as I mentioned, that Tucson Shade and Shadow wants to do some design work here, put in some vegetation, some seating, some retention basins, those sorts of items. So we're showing some lighting out here. And then again, our security fencing. And then right now, to meet City of Tucson Environmental Services requirements, we got to put a dumpster in here as well. We're squeezing that down on this end. The key thing we're really doing besides the fencing and these other improvements is the electrical service. That needs to be upgraded. It's down here on the southeast corner of the building. And Tucson Electric Power has let us know we're going to have to add a pad mount transformer because of the size of the service. And Tucson Electric Power wants to move that up to the north end here. So we'd put that on the northeast corner of the building, still facing the alley, not the main road stall. And this is a larger transformer than what we're anticipating. It was the worst case scenario where we've now got a little bit more information from TEP, but we still have some additional work to do there. Outside of that, let me see if this is on the photo. Not. Let me bring up some additional photos here. Right now, there's a lot of conduit. There's a lot of wiring. There's the plumbing on the exterior of the building. And all of that we'll remove and pull inside of the building. The abatement or the testing of the building has determined that all of the joints of the drywall have asbestos in them. So we're going to have to basically remove all of the interior drywall of the building. And okay, let me share my screen here again. All of the drywall needs to be replaced. So with that in mind, we'll be able to move either the plumbing line here. This is a vent line it comes from. We'll move that inside. This vent here, this is from the dryer and the laundry room. Again, that'll move inside. This box is the coax distribution. We'll take all of that. What will end up here is just the roof drain leaders and the existing building as it originally looked, without all of this conduit, without all of these boxes. There will be exterior lighting, of course, for safety concerns, but we'll pretty much replace the lights in their existing location, and feed all of that power will come from inside the building, not on the exterior here anymore as well.
Mike, just curious, how are you going to vent the dryers out? Just through the roof?
Through the roof, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
we'll take advantage of any roof vents that happen to exist, such as this one, if
Okay.
it's in the right location. If not, we already know there's there's 4 total, 3 of which we anticipate removing, and 1 or 2 adding back. 1 would be for the dryers. Actually, each dryer has to have its own vent by code. But the water heaters, the gas water heaters, those will be new vents on the south side as well.
Okay.
All right, let me flip back to the plan. The only other thing, let me see, I've added a few things to the list here before. Replace the column stair landings, we talked about that. We may need to replace the exterior doors of the hotel, because it's a hotel and the key system that they have. It's not the type of keying system that the city of Tucson will be using. They'll be using an actual key. And what we're not 100% sure on right now is whether we can, what is the configuration inside of the door. We may have to replace that door with a new door. Our intentions for that are to use the same 4-panel type of door that exists now. It would be a hollow metal door. And what I mean by 4-panel, if I can bring up a photo here. You can see there's 4 panels and then a blank spot on top where the number is. We'll do the exact same sort of thing. Yeah, okay. And then just replace this with the correct type of hardware. Now, if we can, we don't have the money, we'd prefer to just replace this hardware. Until we take one of these apart, we just don't know what we're going to be able to do. So I wanted to be completely, up front with you guys and let you know that right now we're pricing as if we need to replace all of these doors. The frames would remain. It would just be the door panel itself that gets replaced in that situation.
Okay.
All right. Oh, fire sprinklers. We will have a fire sprinkler line. We've got to sprinkle the whole inside of the building, but this canopy and the way it's configuration, there will be fire sprinkler lines running along the outer edge of the building here with heads to protect the overhangs in these locations too. And that's on all 3 floors. All right, let me just double check my notes here. I did note here right now they've got these stick-on strips on the stairs and landings to keep people from slipping. They're all half torn off, half gone. We'll be replacing those with full treads that are anti-slip. Again, a safety feature is the anticipation. We're hoping the coating looks pretty good on the floors, so we're hoping not to have to replace that, but it's an epoxy type of coating that's there now.
Quick question. What about, I'm sure you'll be repainting when everything's done. Yes. Are you thinking of the same color-ish?
No, I think we'd be going with more of a neutral, something more in the tan, not something so bright.
Okay.
Based upon some postcards, the original building was more of a white or an off-white color, and I think we want to go back to that sort of a color.
Do you have any of those postcards, like pictures of those, or no?
Let me see. Pete, I don't remember if you texted or emailed those to me.
Don't worry if you can't, but
okay. There's a couple at the that folks found in the city, which was really interesting and neat, and it was great because it showed us that it appears that this masonry wall, the green wall around the pool, looks to be the exact wall that's there today. So that's kind of nice to see.
Well, that's good and helpful research to look at that kind of material. So, okay, you ready for us to ask questions if we have them?
Absolutely.
Okay, commissioners, what do you think? I've horned my way in and asked some questions already. So who would like, Savannah, do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. I mean, thank you, Mike, for the presentation. I'm really happy to see the change to the columns. I feel like the original plans, or actually plans as submitted with the replication, is probably not good practice for a preservation approach. So I appreciate that they're now a different material. distinguish from the original columns, and honestly the functionality being a little different. So I think that is good. And I would approve that steel approach. No other real main questions. I guess my other main concern is the portico. Seems to me pretty prominent, kind of character defining piece of the building, and I'm really sad to see it removed. So I guess I understand the fire department approach, but I want to, I guess, make sure that there was really no other option than to remove it.
You want to go ahead, Mike?
No, go ahead, Pete.
I was just gonna chime in. So since we started the process, TFD came back to us. We would like to remove it, but we can leave it. TFD is okay. They actually had a call the other day there, and they're able to back up. So if it's something that the board would really like to see, we can leave it. I know Mike's put some bollards around the post. The post is not ideal. It's been run into several times. So that was one of our concerns. So yeah, that big yellow post there, it cuts off about half of the apron on the exit. But with the fencing, another way to mitigate some of that is we're gonna make an entrance off Helen and the exit off of Stone, so people aren't coming in, because if you've got someone trying to go out, someone trying to come in off of Stone Avenue, it's extremely dangerous and very tight. So we're hoping the fencing will help resolve that. So if you all want to keep this, we can leave it. We just would like to put some bollards around that post.
Well, and actually, just a little correct, and I think what we were proposing is to put the bollard out of these outer corners to make sure that a larger vehicles don't hit the overhead. You can see right there how this one has been hit, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
wasn't the first and only time. So we're proposing
So
bollard out
that's
a little further to protect the overhead.
that's not currently shown on the plan though, right? So would you have to move the site plan, have to the entrance have to shift north a little, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So the fencing and the gate would shift a little bit north. What Tucson Fire had asked is that right now there's a curb, and this is really where the access point is in and out. We would pull this curb back a little bit to give them a little bit more room to get around the portico and the bollards that are there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll see what other commissioners think too. If I'm the only one, then certainly we can have a discussion, but I just think it's a neat element to kind of the original use of the building as a motel. So I appreciate the effort to keep it. I do think it would be worthwhile as kind of even if it's just kind of a nicer, more generous entry, right? Is that someone's, it looks like it's someone's unit right there, right? It's not like the office.
That actually is the office. Sorry.
Oh, it is the office. Oh, okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of defines.
It's here, and the manager, the person who, the 24/7 folks that stay on site, stay in this unit here.
Okay. So okay, yeah, it kind of nicely, I think, distinguishes, sorry, that space as kind of a more public entry. So, cool. That's all I had. I appreciate all the work. Otherwise, I think it looks good.
Yeah, Savannah, I agree with you. And if others do, and whoever makes the motion, we would need to mention that this would need to be added back on the plans. Okay, so who's next? Ricky or Andrew?
Yeah, I just have a comment about that overhang. So, the way that it is right now, it's already damaged. Would you guys, if you are able to save it, what kind of reinforcement would you need to do to make sure that it doesn't fall?
Well, the only thing that's damaged right now in that photo is actually the gutter.
Okay.
Thankfully, somebody didn't hit it too hard. That's where the bollards would come in. So the bollards would be offset just enough so that if a vehicle got close, it's going to clip the bollard before it clips the building, the overhead building. So.
So then it's essentially like no extra cost for you to keep that feature. It's not like this overhang is going to be it's either this or something else.
Correct. I mean, yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's some cost to add the bollard, but we didn't want to go into this meeting in particular if Tooth on Fire came back and said, absolutely not. We just don't have the clearance. We need to get rid of that. You know, we wanted to make sure you guys were aware that that is something we were looking at. But as Pete said, they've come back and said that they can make it work with some other modifications that occurred at the exit. So.
Okay. I mean, then I do have a preference for it. And then on the back here where it says future development built by city, that's just currently being left as just dirt while the city decides what they're going to put in there?
City's actually already working on it. They've got a landscape architect on board already. But yes, it will be part of the construction. So when this is all done, that will be done as well.
Okay.
And actually, I think they want to add their information to our development plan for the project. So when we even submit for permitting, we anticipate to have that information with it.
Okay. And I'm not sure if it's going to interest other plans review people if they want to see that before it gets done. It is just a very small area.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, and you know, because we often like to know the details of the landscaping and what happens in that area. So, Michael, could they return? Could it be a minor review, or what would that be? Michael Teku. Did we lose people, or can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
But I'm not
Yeah.
hearing Michael.
I can hear you.
Dear, is Michael off?
I'll be here, Madam Chair. Sorry.
Yeah, so we had asked you about the area that Ricky mentioned that is yet to be developed, but the city's working on a landscaping plan. Could we see that again in a minor review or some other context? What would that look like?
Yes, if you choose to see that, yeah, that's fine. You can put it in your motion, please. And then I will
Okay.
make sure that happens somehow.
Okay, if the others feel that that's important, I kind of agree with you, Ricky, that I'm glad you asked that. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, let's think about that. So do you have other comments, Ricky?
Yeah. How tall is that pool wall and how tall is the fencing that you're adding on top of it?
So the fencing is the total height of 8 feet. The
Mhm.
pool wall is about 5 feet tall along Helen. And then grade comes up, so it's about 4 feet with wrought iron on top of it presently on the west and south faces of it currently.
Okay. I was just curious about that. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. Andrew?
Yeah, this looks good. I agree with everyone else's comments on keeping the portico and then wanting some more info on that landscape. The one question I was going to ask, and this may be a dumb question, is the parking lot seems very awkward with the entrance and exit kind of so close together. Is it a requirement to have 2 separate entry points to this property?
To be honest with you, we didn't dig into the zoning aspect of that to see for sure. I don't believe it is. These are just the existing entrances and exits to the property now. So we were just maintaining them. And with the fencing and the rolling gates, the decision was to make one entrance and one exit, partly because, you know, these gates require a card reader access to get in and out of them. So a car can pull in, be out of the street, use their card reader here, or use their card to get into the parking lot, and then you'll just roll up to the gate here. The sensors will sense the car, obviously, and the pressure plates, and then allow the vehicle out. But we didn't really, again, we were just leaving the existing entrances and exits that existed for the hotel now. And you're absolutely correct. It's a very funky, yeah, it's not an easy way to get in and out of this property,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that would be my only comment with, that may help alleviate some of the issues with the portico and the awkwardness there is if that stone entrance just goes away. So I don't know, maybe something to look at
Okay.
when you guys reincorporate the canopy. The other question, I think I just missed it. I think you did explain it. Can you run through what you're doing with the condensate lines from the wall units real quick again?
So what we're doing is we're proposing to cut a little, cut open the slab, the existing slab on the floor there, run the condensate line out to these planters. They can't drain onto the sidewalk per code. So we're just proposing, and we'll consolidate them together. For instance, these two would be combined and run together to get to this planter. So that's
Okay.
what we're proposing. And then we put concrete back in that exact same location where the scuppers would be placed.
Okay, is that just for the units that are interior to the property?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Anything on the exterior here, these can already drain onto this is already dirt on the Helen side, so those would drain out to there. And same thing on the south side of the building. There's several units here on this corner that can drain onto the south area there as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. That's all the comments and questions I had.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, and everyone. We're gonna have to move quickly with a motion here because we do have, I think we're only, what are we on? What do we have till 10, people's availability?
Yes,
Is that
Madam
right?
Chair. Yes,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, and so we do need to move forward. So, who would like to talk us through a motion? How about you, Savannah? You look like you're jotting
Yeah,
ideas.
I do. I think, I mean, if it sounded good to find the additional columns to be steel, acceptable, as presented. The portico to remain since acceptable to TFD, and then we'll just say rework driveways on the site plan as needed. And then I apologize, I kind of missed the conclusion of Ricky's comment about the landscape. Would that come back as a minor review? Would we recommend that?
Yeah, once the
Yeah.
plans for the landscaping are developed, that they should come back for review.
Okay.
Or it's gonna be more than landscaping. There's probably gonna be amenities there or whatever. And then also I think we should mention that be sure that all changes get on the final plans, because when this is reviewed, I mean, it's important because it's sort of evolving, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's settled out an awful lot now, just FYI.
Yeah, great. Okay, folks, are you okay with that motion that Savannah outlined?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead with it, Savannah.
All right. Whoops, hold on. Put it in the right order.
Yeah.
All right. Let me pull up the. All right. On the matter of SD-0125-00006 at 1132 and 1136 North Stone Avenue, I move to recommend approval of the project as presented with the following conditions: that the additional columns proposed to be steel as presented, that the portico to remain since acceptable to TFD, and the driveways to be reworked on the site plan as needed. That the landscape design, once developed, to be reviewed by minor review, and that all changes to be incorporated into the final plan set.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there further discussion?
I do
If
have
not,
one.
I'll go ahead.
Madam Chair, before you
Yes,
vote,
go ahead.
on the landscape, can we just say that to be reviewed, not necessarily minor review, because it may have to go to landscape subcommittee?
Right. Let's just say, yeah, is that a friendly amendment that you would accept? if someone wants to make that friendly amendment. And then Savannah can.
I have to move to do that, right? It's been so long since we've done an amendment.
Well, basically, all you just change it and Michael can adjust that in the.
Okay. I'll just motion to move the amendment or to amend it to say just returns for review and not specify minor review.
Yeah, are you okay with that, Savannah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, modified by Ricky with Savannah's. Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right. Let's go ahead and I'll call roll. Terry votes aye. Savannah,
Aye.
Andrew,
Aye.
Ricky.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So Mike, are you, I'm sure you're familiar with the next steps, or is that something that Michael can go over with you after this meeting if you have questions?
Yeah, I'll coordinate with Michael. I am quite familiar with next steps anyway, but yeah, we'll. I appreciate all of your time, though, and I appreciate you guys pulling this meeting together this quickly for it. We
Well,
really
sure.
do
Well,
appreciate that.
it's a good project, so thank you and good luck, and we look forward to hearing about the next ideas.
Perfect.
So, all right, thank you. Okay.
Who seconded this motion again, please?
It was Andrew.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And let's see. So, Mr. Lee, you're also with Swaim?
No, I'm with the
No.
city. I'm the project manager for the city of Tucson.
It's with the city of Tucson.
And what's your first name?
Lee.
Peter. My first
Peter.
name.
Peter,
Okay.
Peter Lee.
Yes.
Okay. I just need to know for the,
Sure. Absolutely.
yeah. And I think it was on the previous one, but I don't have that in front of me. So thank you. Okay, let's go ahead with case 3B, which is SD 0424-00036/TC-COM-0224-00276 at 350 South Convent Avenue. This is a zoning violation, and we're not taking any action today. But Michael, can you give us some background so we know exactly what we're doing? And I guess Ricky was going to tell us some things.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is a prelude to a review that will be coming before you, I believe, in your meeting in February. I am bringing this up just so that you can have an idea and know exactly what is going on before it's actually presented to you. This door violation, we started this as a minor review, and I worked on it with Ricky from PRS and Grace from the barrio. We had like 3 meetings to figure out exactly what can be done to the door that was installed to make it be compliant. Ricky and Grace came up with some proposals for what the applicant could do to at least mitigate and let the door be approved as a minor review process. The applicant was not happy with the recommendation and the suggestion from Ricky and Grace and decided that he wanted to go to the full board. So the first stage was to present at the barrio board. So they went to the barrio reviewed it first as a courtesy review and then as a full review, and recommended that the proposal that the applicant had at the time was denied because the applicant was proposing to put some screen door in front of the main door to cover the main door. So the barrio voted to deny that proposal and insisted that the door needs to be removed. That was the action of the barrio. That's where we were at. Now, it was going alongside with a court action because code enforcement had taken the owner and the applicant to court. Recently, the court ruled that and gave the applicant a deadline to be compliant with removing the door and installing a new door. by a certain date. And so I just brought this up so that you are aware before it comes to you, because this is a little bit of a hot pot right now. The ward office is looking at this, management here is looking at it. I wanted you to have an idea before it is submitted to you. It is going to be submitted to you eventually. But I thought that because Ricky had been involved in about 3 minor reviews, and basically the barrier kind of sided with them, they concurred what Ricky and Grace had said. So I wanted Ricky to give you people an update or a presentation of the case, because she has been representing you and knows the case much more than any other person. So Ricky, how do you want to proceed with this? You want me to make you a co-host here?
No, I can just talk about, actually, maybe I'll pick it up. The 350. I think I might try to pull it up on my computer. Which I should have done before. So do I have I'm trying to get the plans up. Michael, can you pull up onto the screen with the doors that's in there now? Do you
The
have it?
doors as of now?
Yeah, the metal one.
Okay.
Michael sent us an email of that, didn't he?
He sent the new one.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it was a metal door that he had installed, and the metal was essentially looked like steel, but he wanted it to rust, so it was starting to rust by the time Grace and I looked at it, and the rust was kind of like dripping down on the sidewalk. It was gross. And so essentially Grace and I told him, like, this does not meet the neighborhood standards. He instead tried to call out other folks in the neighborhood. Like, I don't know if any of you remember that garage that has like a kind of a screen door, but it's like their whole front garage area that we had looked at, and they also had some water harvesting. He cited that, which is not in his development zone. And also, like, we put in our approval for that project that be an exception. And anytime he named a neighbor, Grace essentially told him, like, this is about your project and your project does not pass approval. We were telling him it would be nice to have a wooden door in there and gave him some options. And he suggested, well, what if I just put wood on top of the metal door? He said he had spent a lot of money on this metal door and that he didn't want to get rid of it. So Grace and I said, like, if that is an option, if you can get somebody to do that for you, then we would be open to looking at what that would look like. So he said, okay. He was on a trip at the time, so I guess he couldn't get in contact with whoever it was that made him that door to see if that could happen. So it was like he was out of the country for like a month. During that time, before we heard back from him again, I guess whoever made his door said, like, no, we can't do that. We can't put wood on top of it. That's not going to work. And so then he asked for it to be escalated to the entire commission. He seemed to think that Grace and I were like our own separate committee and not part of like the larger neighborhood PRS review board. So I think he was just hoping to get a more favorable decision if he had gone to the larger group rather than like Grace and I. But now they have their new proposal of the wood door with the glass that's in the top part, the transom part. Because he had been asking about other folks in the neighborhood, saying like, what specifically are their designs that are allowing for their doors to be okay when my door isn't. So part of the meeting that Grace and I did have was like education on like what makes their doors okay and a metal door not okay. I think he was a little confused about the standards that exist in the neighborhood.
Okay, so he's developing another proposal. It has nothing to do with the screen door that the barrio didn't like when it went back to them on December 9th, correct?
Yes.
So it's a new proposal to replace the door with a wood door and put a transom in and so forth.
Yes, which I don't have that proposal yet. I just wanted you to know the history. I don't yet have the proposal. I met with the owner of the property and he showed me exactly what they're going to do. What Ricky and Grace had said, along Convent Avenue between Cushing and Simpson Street, There are a lot of doors on both sides of 350, which have all the doors, the character defining feature is just the transom on top, which they are now. The door that was removed, according to the owner, had the transom on top. And that's what the barrier said, that's what Ricky said, that's what Grace said. So they are developing a new door, which you will see during the review, that has a transom on top. I don't have photographs of that one yet, but they will submit it. I just wanted you to be aware of where we are. So when it comes to you for review, you already have background information. That's
No,
all.
that's good.
That's all what this one is about.
Is he trying to put a screen door on top of the wooden door?
No, the screen door option is out.
Okay,
Because, yeah, because
because they didn't approve it.
Right, because the Barrio minutes were in the stuff that
Yeah.
Michael sent us the link to, so they said absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, and I think just real briefly that another reason, there seems to be a lot of people confused about, the role of the Historic Zone Advisory Boards and the PRS portion of the commission. And Michael, when I brought this up the other day, I wasn't pointing a finger at you. It's just that it's very difficult when you're trying to manage this all yourself to have conversations with people, and some people are never going to understand.
Yeah.
But it would be helpful if there was something written up or a checklist, the roles of different, and in the past I've mentioned that at the beginning of meetings, or one of the PRS members will mention that. But at the last meeting, we had a tremendously long meeting because that first person had no clue how to structure, a presentation. So anyway, we can talk a little bit more about that. But so does anyone else have any questions? Because this is not a action item.
So there were 2 images sent to us of red doors. That
Yeah.
Michael sent to us. Is that the original?
I just dropped a picture of the original in the chat along with what's currently there. That's just from Google Street View.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
That is different from the 2 images Michael sent.
So the one that's
Oh.
on the bottom was the one that used to be there. The one that's on the top is what he replaced it with. That door's
Yeah.
rusted a lot more. When Grace and I saw it, it was more steel colored. And then he added that side window, which was like, that door was rusting onto the sidewalk. Then the new doors that Michael sent are the ones that I think he's proposing to be put in.
And I think that's just a picture of the existing door that's on the south side of the building.
Yes.
The one
and-
on the bottom.
It's along Simpson.
So,
There's one with a transom and one without. I
So
actually used to work in the building that shares a courtyard with this, and all the doors on the rest of this building are this, like, whatever that is, a 15 panel wood door.
It's wacky. It's kind of overdone, isn't it, or no? Maybe, I don't know.
wait, so yeah, those are existing. They're not proposed.
It's sort of something that's happening in the neighborhood, but can somebody bring up those ones that Michael?
I'll put it in the chat. Unless Michael, can you share your screen?
you can do that.
Be good to just know.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it says meeting dates agenda.
Yeah, so the ones that I put in there under these should be. What does it seem like I didn't send out the photos? Oh, I didn't send out those photos.
It was just an
You
email.
just
It's
like
not.
emailed them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I put them in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at that.
So those are elsewhere on the building? Is that what? They're just to serve as examples? Okay.
Those are both along Simpson.
Michael, is the applicant wanting to recreate like that second door that Savannah sent that has like the transom that's glass block?
Yes, yes, yeah. This one here that Savannah sent here, that's what the applicant is. It's not yet come to you, but that is, I sent this to you before, I remember. The applicant is trying to recreate a door with this dark spot on top here is where they want to put the transom. So that's
But
what
the
happened.
transom is there because the opening is taller.
Yeah.
He's right, or is he? Is it
Yeah.
is it a tall opening that he's trying to fill?
It's a door opening that is trying to fill. The
Okay.
transom is not yet there,
Okay.
but that's what will be coming to you. Yeah, that's a new proposal that I said it will be coming to you. That's what the applicant is going to be proposing.
Is it just me looking at that second, the lower photo that Savannah popped in the chat with? It looks like a pop out for the transom, or is it flush? And I'm not understanding that.
No, it's definitely pops out. And it has like a, oh, I thought it was glass block, but it's not. It's like a netting with wooden dowels behind the netting.
Yeah, I think it's like their security bars, so that whole frame may have been added like on top of the transom for those security bars maybe at some point. I don't know.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
the original door looked like it had a similar thing going on.
Yeah, it does.
I've
Well,
not
how do
yet.
people
Well,
feel about
I've not yet seen the final design, but as soon as I get it, I will share it with you.
Okay.
Okay, do people feel that's too busy, or what are your thoughts? Right, so that we're not having those discussions later, maybe.
Well, like a big feature of this door and the other doors in the neighborhood are that there's glass, these like glass windows inside of the door, which has
Yeah,
been
what
removed
and that's
altogether.
yeah, Ricky, and that's one of the things the applicant talked to me. Instead of just having like this third section here, the applicant was thinking of putting like some glass somewhere inside here. If you can see my cursor, yeah,
Oh,
try
I
to
can't.
put some glass here
We
instead of
don't
just leaving
see,
a
if you're
solid door.
sharing a screen, we don't see anything, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's trying to add some glass so it is not just all solid wood here. That's what the applicant was saying. So there will be two
Okay.
options. One will just a solid wood, and then one will be the plan B will be the one that has at least some glass on the door.
Okay.
That's what I suggested to the applicant, but that will be coming to you.
Okay.
So with that, I think that was all I wanted you to know on this one.
Does that have to be reviewed by February 20th if the court gave him a date to put a new door in
Yes,
by?
he has to put this door for the, I'm trying to put this review for the meeting of February the 13th.
The 13th, which
the
is the day
13th.
after the commission meeting, and so
Yes, which will
at
be the first meeting in February. I'm trying to put this review for that day. As soon as I get the final design from the applicant, I will be more than willing to share it with you.
Okay. All right, any other comments on this before we move on? Thanks for sharing those images, Andrew and Savannah. All right, let's just say that we're not going to discuss item 4 or item 5A at this time, but I'll come back to this briefly when we talk about review process issues. Okay, so item 4 is not heard. Item 5A is not heard. Okay, item 6, current issues for information discussion. 6A is minor reviews. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, for minor reviews, in order to get all these reviews going, I did send out plans to members of the subcommittee to help me just take a look, let me know whether there's anything outstanding that we need to worry about or something, so I can get together with the applicant or with the advisory board. Ricky was more than I was happy Ricky was able to knock out about 8 of those cases, which were signs, all the sign cases, because she has done a lot of those sign cases. So I gave them to her, and she was able to give me feedback on about, I believe there were about 6 of them. Yesterday, I met with Jude and Wendy on 4 of the side cases that Ricky had already reviewed, and that those 4 side cases are already done. They are all in the downtown and Miracle Mile overlay zone. So when I do the minor review right up, you will be able to see those reviews that have been done. I have some other pending ones which Savannah is going to get back to me with some, and then I am going to send some of the solar and roof review ones to Andrew, so he can just look at it and let me know exactly what we need to do. Right now, most of them are in the barrio and the Avery Park. Avery Park there's nobody in Avery Park who is volunteering to do any minor review. So my default is for a member of the plans review to help with this. And the other one is a barrio. Grace was the one doing minor review in the barrio. Nobody in the barrio wants to do minor review. And so again, I'm falling on PROS to do this. So I'll be sending out those cases mainly for the roof and the solar panel out for people to just give me their comments, and I'll meet with the applicants. If there's anything that I need to talk with them, I can do. If not, that's how I'm proceeding with minor reviews now. This approach makes me to at least catch up with most of the pending minor reviews. And
So
thanks for
Michael, how many
considering
do you have remaining that aren't completed?
At this point in time, I think I have like 12 of them.
Oh, wow. So you really came down from that. Thanks everyone for your help.
Yes, I'm very grateful to you all for helping me on that. I still need more help though.
Okay.
Michael, I never ended up getting that email that you
Yes,
sent on, I think
because
it was
I
like the
don't know,
9th.
Andrew. I don't know what
Yeah, I don't
happened.
know.
I keep trying to use your ABC this thing and it keeps rejecting. So I'm going to try your Gmail
Email.
this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave
Yeah,
that email to him, Andrew, because I noticed that there was some issues with you not seeing things.
Yeah.
And I tend to use your Gmail because sometimes Gmail will allow for bigger files, but use both of them, Michael, just and then he'll see one or the other.
yeah, and
Yes,
if
I'll do.
if I don't respond fairly quickly, just feel free to call me too and
Oh, okay, I
make
will
sure
do.
I got it. Yeah.
I'll do. Honestly, you are going to get them. Yeah, I will use both. And
Because
then
everyone's been super responsive. Like if I email, I hear back from people pretty quickly. You know?
yes, that'd be very helpful. And I just thought with Savannah before this, so she's going to also give me some feedback. Go ahead, Ricky.
There were 2 of the cases that I had the additional questions for, 33rd South 6, because they didn't
Uh-huh.
say what kind of screws they were using. And then that sign that is going in by the Presidio, which I know is kind of time limited because they're trying to have it installed on a certain day.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear back from either of those?
No, for the one on 33 South 6, we talk about leaving the projecting sign, you talk about leaving the cabinet on whenever they're no longer using it, and Jude is okay with that. I forgot to ask them about the screws, but I'm going to get with Jude.
Okay. Oh, that's which one is the one on 6th? That's the one on 6th that has the screws.
Yes, the screws are leaving, and it's a projecting sign too.
Okay. And then the one for the Presidio?
I don't think I've done that yet.
Okay. Because they just like gave me a whole corner of where they want the sign to go, but they didn't say specifically where they want the sign to go or how tall it was. So I'm just curious on those 2
Yeah,
things.
I've not yet done that, but I know your recommendation. I'll get that. If I need to catch up with you, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Now, Michael, the sign that Ricky just referred to, the Presidio, is that the marker that Amy Hartman Gordon is trying to get feedback on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so you sorted that out with her, because I never saw the final resolution because there was so much confusion on by
Yeah, I
Amy.
sent that one to Ricky, and of course, that one I'm going to schedule it for PRS review. There were a lot of in-house issue that I was trying to resolve, but I've gotten it to a level where it should be able to come to you on the February meeting.
Okay,
They never submitted formal plans. It was
No,
just like, here's a picture, a stock
oh, yeah,
picture
yeah.
of what the sign is supposed to look like, and here's a Google Maps image of the corner.
yes,
Right,
yes.
yeah, I never saw it because Amy kept asking me about it, and I think she applied under the wrong thing and didn't understand, and
Yeah,
I know there's a lot going on.
yeah, we're trying to get it situated because she was talking to Georgia outside Edegov, and so there was nothing really submitted. And so she was under the impression that talking to Georgia means that everything was okay, which was not. Right now, I'm trying to get it to the review system where it can come to me and I can schedule it. Now, what happened was that when she talked to Georgia, Georgia looked at it and said, "Oh, this is a plan. It's not a sign. It does not require any review." And she voided the application. So the application in the system is showing that it's voided. Once it is voided, I cannot do anything. So we are trying to reactivate Emmy's application now so that it can at least have historic review. Even if the sign folks guy will not review it, it will still require historic review. I'm hoping that I can get that re-established before the February meeting, so I can put it on the February meeting. So we're working on that part. That's why I never got back to you, Ricky.
Okay. Thank you. I was just curious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, because technically it's not yet submitted. So this we're just talking outside. I just was expecting that you can just see it and give the comments that you give so that when it's submitted, I will be able to say, hey, here's what the thought process would look like. So
Okay.
that's what I have for minor reviews at this point in time, Chair.
Okay,
And
great.
then, Drew, I should be sending some of the stuff to you after this meeting.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay, item 6B is appeals.
We do not have any appeal.
None at this time?
No.
Okay, sorry, there was like some weird feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, item 6C is zoning violations.
Same old, the ones that come from, like last time you review one case, now we have another one that is coming before you for the 350 South Convent. So as soon as we get a lot of them, I always bring it to you.
Okay, item 6D is review process issues. Does anyone have anything before I briefly bring something up? Okay, so we
The only
are,
thing I can say is that of course, you all are aware, we are working on getting our HPO pretty soon, anytime from now. That's the only thing that I can add.
right. But even when a new HPO is there, they're not going to be familiar with the system, even though, it's one thing to read up about the system, but unless you're involved in it, and then Michael, it would be very useful to know how it's going to work with you and the new HPO. Is it going to be the same type of thing with you that you did
I
with
don't know,
Jody?
Madam Chair, and he or she will be coming in. And I'll just have to wait and see. I don't know
No,
what
yeah,
I don't know
but
what approach I'm going to take. So
yeah, but whoever's chosen, it's going to be smart for them to go with existing until they get the lay of the land, and then, whatever. So it's
I
going
hope
to
so.
be, yeah, there's going to be a lot. So, but then our other problem that's really serious is that Jan times out on her last day is March 5th, right? So, and then the March commission meeting is until the 12th. So I don't want to take her off plans review at the February meeting because we could still have one or two other meetings depending on what we have to do or minor reviews and things like that. Ricky, I'm still unclear if your appointer is going to appoint the new person when they're going to do that.
Yeah, D5 hasn't told me anything either, but they also didn't tell me they were removing me. So
But I think,
I'll
you know,
email
if
them
you,
again.
yeah, if you could just say, you know, this is really serious because of our issues on quorum for plans review and, you know, all that. So,
Yeah.
so Ricky could be off at the next commission meeting. She could, but you were told that you would still be on for the 12th of February, right? For that
Yeah,
full
that's what I had
commission?
asked for.
Yeah.
But actually, we have a couple minutes left. I'm just gonna text Mauro to see if he's even signed the paperwork yet, because if he hasn't signed the paperwork.
Yeah, so if we could just can sort that out. Joel is somewhere and he's out of the country until mid-month, I think, right?
Yeah.
Mid-February. So I've got to think about this because Ricky, if it's just Hugh, me and Andrew, and not Ricky, Savannah, if it's just the three of us, then we need to figure something out because we have, for three to work, we have to have five on plans review.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mauro hasn't signed the paperwork yet to even be on the commission.
Okay.
So I think
So you're
it's,
still on.
yeah, I think it's likely that I will be on the 13th.
Yeah, so, but just, I want y'all to know that I'm working this because it's really serious.
Yeah.
Um,
It is.
And
It
then
is.
with Jan going off, she's the commission she's appointed as the planner. And so JJ Lamb not JJ, Helen had an idea about who to appoint. They're actually the new HPO or whatever it's called at the university. But turns out the person's a county appointee, so they can't be the city's specialized position. Maybe that, you know, it's complicated. So anyway, if any of you know a planner that we might reach out to, but it's very unclear how these, like Andrew, when you were appointed, I was asked a question and I said, oh, just make him the commission architect. Because they're like clueless about this, because what happened a while back was that I requested that somebody be appointed in one of the specialist positions, and then the mayor put a hold on any of those votes. And so it never was resolved, but I think that was during the time when they were trying to separate the commission. So anyway, it's when they don't make decisions, it's a very bad problem for us staffing doing our work, if that makes sense. But if anyone has ideas that they want to communicate offline, also ideas about anyone else on the commission that might be a good choice for plans review.
What is the minimum people we need on plans review?
Oh, that doesn't matter. It's like we could go.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had to go to 4, then our quorum would be 3. Our quorum is 3 if we have 5. And it's nice to have 5 just because then you have one more person toward the quorum. Does that make sense? Toward the 3 gives us some more. And most people who are on now, I've asked, except Joel wanted to be on. So there was, you know, kind of an intensive training period. But I think he stepped up. But I don't know why. Anyway, he's committed to me recently in an email that although he's traveling, he wants to stay on plans review, which is good. But I mean, replacing Jan is going to be tough because she's, good on the landscape.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm thinking about all this. I might ask her if there's anyone. See, the thing is, she's on historic landscapes, but Steve Grady, teaches. It would be tough for him. I think Alice Sadangi is on there, but she's not, she often has to leave the meetings at, the full commission meetings early. So I'm not sure if I think she's executive director or something at Mission Garden. Anyway, she's involved heavily with Mission Garden now. And I only knew that because I made a donation to them and got a letter that I think she signed or something. But anyway, so help me with your ideas. I know everyone's really busy, but if you're like me, sometimes I'm like laying awake at night. I go, oh, something may come to you.
Carrie, was that Alice you were talking about? Sorry, I missed the name.
Yeah, Alice.
Oh, her. So yes, she's at Mission Gardens, but she's also really busy. Just from the other like subcommittees in the commission that I'm on with her, and she tends to have a lot of internet connective issues.
No, right. And I know she's really busy, but she is contributing. So if there's other ideas, I kind of told Helen she may have to come back on for a little bit, but I'm not sure that that's viable.
Could Helen just be on for like 2 months until we figure out who the new city planner is, or if they're intending to put one on anytime soon?
I'm not sure because I'm not sure if she'd be willing to do that, and if we can do that dance, but we'll have to see. So that's a good option though, because I did talk to her about it. I said I may have to come back to you and talk to you. So and then again, one of the things we have to do, Michael, is when you get some more support, is we got to come up with some handouts or whatever so that people understand, at least have the opportunity to understand what the review process is like and what they're supposed to do for their presentations. I mean, clearly we've got some presentations that we could get permission to share from the applicants. I mean, we don't expect everybody to have the same level that an architect would have, right, of a presentation. But we used to get presentations that were actual PowerPoints, and now more and more, we're not even getting some of the elevations that we're expecting to see. And I'm not sure, Savannah, you've asked that question several times. Do you know what that's about, Michael? Are they not required to put those, or do you make a decision about what goes into our package?
No, they are required to put those. It's a requirement. It's just sometimes, Madam Chair, sometimes there are some projects that they just make me put through. Can this person go for a review on this day? Once I get those instructions from hierarchy, sometimes there isn't enough time for me to get on the applicants to say, hey, give me this, give me this. So, but they are required to submit all of those. And then
Right.
sometimes the issue I get is the more you continue to ask, they don't submit. Before you notice, they start going to the ward office to say that this. Michael Tapu is holding my project. And then I'll tell management, hey, look, here is why I'm holding it. Or can you just put them through the review process, Some of those things happens. It's not that I decide to limit what they're
Oh,
supposed to.
no. If we had a checklist that people knew what they had to have, and that sometimes helps you when it's there. Oh, hey, I have to do this. Because some of them are just terrible and sloppy and lazy, and that's not your fault.
We do have a checklist, Madam Chair. I will share with all the applicants. They do have a checklist. And
I know I've looked at it in the past.
Yeah, it takes a while to get some people to actually understand or know what you are looking for. So,
Oh,
Michael,
anyway,
is that something that we can push for as the department is looking to hire another person after the historic preservation officer, just to like better partner with these folks? Because I know that you don't have time to like sit down and say like this is how you fix your presentation, but it seems like something needs to happen.
yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't see why not. And you always, the subcommittee always has the option to continue a case. If you're not satisfied with the presentation, my suggestion has always been, you know what, let's just continue the case and tell the applicant we cannot effectively review this because XYZ is lacking. Maybe when they come to you and they get a continuous, then they will get a hint that, oh, they need to do something because when they refuse to submit at the level of the staff, I really don't encourage the subcommittee to just pass a review if you are not satisfied with all what has been submitted. By all means, if you are not satisfied, please let's continue the case and ask them to bring what you need to review to make an informed recommendation.
Right, right. Could you send us all the checklist again so we could look at it?
Sure,
And
sure.
that would be kind of interesting. So before we go on, I just want to say, if you look at item 4, we continually postpone that because we don't have, we never have everybody on.
Harry,
Yeah,
Keith just responded to my email, and Mauro's appointment is on February 4th at the Board of Supervisors regular agenda.
mm.
And then he has
That's-
to sign his loyalty oath to be fully eligible.
Whoa.
So maybe, he could hold off signing so you could be on the last, so that means you couldn't even be on the full commission meeting,
Yeah.
but you could be on, oh, yeah, February
Okay.
4th?
Yeah, February 4th is his appointment.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that means see, I don't know if the appointment, I mean, if you're off once the appointment's made, or he has to sign his paperwork first. But it seems to me that between the 4th and the 12th, that would probably happen, right?
Yeah. And he did, well, Keith previously told me on the phone that I am on until somebody else gets appointed in my position. So,
Yeah, I don't know why they appointed somebody else anyway. But anyway, so that's anyway, what I was going to say, that for item 4, this was primarily Jan's item, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
think we need to have a quorum, and that she's got to be on. We need to deal with this. We need to discuss it, because when she's off, I'm not going to have, I mean, I recall some of the discussion. Do the rest of you, are you aware of this issue? This was something with, is it an Armory Park that bothered her?
I don't remember. I remember we discussed it a little, but it was a while ago.
oh, it was, it's about the proposal 4A, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That somebody is thinking of building an apartment complex in Barrio Viejo and using the
Right.
Susangario house to justify making it 3 stories tall. Or using the Cario school, since technically at the highest point, the Cario school is 3 stories.
Is it in its development zone?
Yeah.
It is.
Well, and wasn't there some issue that this had to be, if there was a change, it would have to be somehow in your administrative procedures or something, Michael, that would say that you can't use commercial
Yeah.
properties?
Yeah, that would have required a kind of code amendment or things like that.
Yeah, Jody had said that the current code allowing that has just been in place too long to like administratively change it now.
Yeah.
Because
But
it's
that
been like
hasn't
20 years.
Yeah, so is that someone still just thinking of it? I mean, that's something that I think we need to solidify what the discussion is and have more than just discussion was held, no action was taken. You know, we have to
I
have some
think
kind of statement.
this was the item, was it Dan Bursack who kind of explained it and presented it? And I don't, from my recollection, like, sure, it would be a very long process to fix and change, but I think we could at least initiate it or start it or organize what the effort would be to change it.
Yeah.
Just knowing it's not going to be immediate.
Or you can also request that Dan should come back and do that presentation again so that it can refresh your memory, and we
Yeah.
can go from there.
Yeah,
That's
well, I think
something
we should find out if that's indeed the case. Now, a part of the problem is that, you know, the Pima County code changes are going in tomorrow. The P&Z is going to hear them. So the city's gonna have to do some code changes when that becomes fully operational, you know what I mean? Because they've got their own plans review, you know,
Yeah.
they've got all this weird stuff. So I don't think, I think they would only activate the Pima County plans review when they had cases to do, right? And they're hardly ever gonna have any cases because they don't have any zones.
Yeah, you don't have those, yeah.
Right. And so we have to be able to still have plans review people on, you know, to do what we do, I think, because, you know, some of our best people, we have really good PRS members from the county. So anyway, so I'm just sort of, so do you think that's a good way to handle item 4, to ask Dan when we have, I mean, again, we can't have 3 review cases plus this on. I mean, what do you think?
I don't
Mike?
think his presentation will be too long anyway. So I think even if you have cases, he can just give you a brief presentation and I can talk to him and let you know, Madam Chair, exactly how he feels about it.
Yeah. So what I think I'd like to do is email, I need to email Jan. We need to know if she's going to be able to attend the plans review meetings in February, because we need to find out who's around and when they're coming so that we know who to take off and keep on at the next meeting, at the next full commission meeting.
Can we
Does
do
that make
that
sense?
right now? For 2:30, who's going to be on will be off?
For 213? Okay,
Yes,
let's go on.
2:13.
Okay, let's move on then. We're gonna move on to hold on a second. Let's move on to item 7, summary of public comments. Were any received by the
No,
deadline? Okay,
no,
and then we go on to item 8. It's erroneously marked as item 9.
yes, yes.
And then, so future agenda items, let's see who's gonna be here. So who's gonna be here on 213? Terry is.
I'll be-
Ricky, question mark.
Yeah,
I'll
I
be here.
can't, if I'm on the commission, I can make it.
Right. And Andrew? You can?
Yeah. Mhm.
Savannah?
I'm good. Yes.
Okay, so then the next one would be what, 27 to,
The next one would be 23rd.
Harry,
No,
Joel
27th.
Joel comes back February 2nd.
okay, February 27 is the fourth Thursday, right? So it's 227. Okay,
27th.
so yeah, Joel back when?
He's back on the
27th.
2nd, like next week.
2-2?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd have to get in touch with them. I mean, we don't know if he can be on, I'll put maybe Joel on the 13th, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then 1, 2, 3, and then in Jan, we don't know. But I think it's key to know if Jan's gonna be there so that we can discuss. I mean, I don't know if Dan could get it, he could get it together by the 13th. I know he's a busy
Oh
guy.
yeah. It's an existing presentation. He doesn't need. You just need to maybe do a few updates. I'll talk to him
Yeah.
and let you know, Madam Chair.
Okay, so then on the 27th, I can be there, Andrew and Rick, Andrew and Savannah.
On the 27th?
Yes.
Yeah, I should be available.
Okay, so we don't know about
Yeah,
Joel.
should be fine.
We don't know about Jan. Ricky, probably not, right?
No, we'll definitely be off by then.
Yeah. So really, the best thing, is to see if Dan can present, depending on what the agendas look like for the 13th and the 27th, and we usually talk about them, Michael. You know,
Yes, Madam
to see
Chair.
if Dan can, so we can just clear that off. And then Ricky, in terms of item 5, you know, what I need to do is just come up with something on that. And then even if you're off, I can have you review. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, if
Yeah.
I'm on as a community advisor, I can do that, right?
but the thing is,
Yeah.
you're not a city appointee, correct? Or you are?
No,
No.
I'm county.
Yeah, so they may not, I'm not sure that works. And I need to find out about that. I have a note, but I can still ask you because as a citizen, you were on it. And you and I can just have emails about it, like if you agree with my approach.
Yeah.
We just need to get that off the books.
That works.
You know, so, okay, what about our future agenda? What does it look like?
We have 350 South Convent that is coming to you for this door. We have Emmy's project that she's been talking to you at length about it. And then we also have one project from West University. So those are 3 projects that I have coming up for the 30.
Okay, is West University residential or is it some big thing?
No, it's a residential, it's a small project.
Okay, so what do you folks think if we all can be on the 13th? If we have a quorum, should we try to do item 4 if Jan's there?
That's fine with me.
Oh, I can take out one of the project on the 13th. I can take out the project from West University on the 13th to give you time.
Okay, well, let's as soon as we find out if Jan, maybe you could email Jan and say, is she gonna be there on the 13th?
Okay.
It's kind of critical because if she's not there, I mean,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
Sorry,
if she's not there, there will be no point for that to be doing the presentation anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Madam Chair, before you go, have you had anything about Steve Greedy and Matt Smith being appointed to American in special qualification category?
I've heard nothing, and I wonder how that. But can he continue to serve until someone else is appointed? If I think it's just a glitch in the appointment system.
No, I asked Maria the other day because she's handling it. So I asked her whether she had contacted you. I told her it needs to go by you.
Yeah, and I'm always really responsive about that.
Yeah, that's what I told her. I don't know why they have not sent it to you. So I will talk to her again.
Okay, let's get that done because we can't have that all messed up. So
it's holding
okay.
back.
Yeah. All right. So any other questions, comments about the agenda items? Guys, thanks so much for doing today. I'm sorry, but I wanted to be able to talk to you about some of these matters when we didn't have a bunch of folks hanging on from, previous reviews. So, I mean, we just needed to do some business here, even though we're recorded. So any last minute thoughts? No? Okay, thank you again. Have a good day. We're adjourned at 10:04. And Michael, I'm traveling Thursday, but it depends on how quickly you want to get this out.
Oh, yeah.